Happy Thursday, chat. Henry here saying thank you for joining us for another Wisecrack Live. We'll have Mike with us in just a moment. Until then, don't forget to like the stream. Good to see you all there. I see so many green names already. I heard Nelson giving out some gifts earlier, so I look forward to seeing what we go through today. There's a lot of funny stuff happening in the news. The beginning begins now. Very generous of you, Dad Card. Thank you so much for those memberships.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Wisecrack Live. Oh no, I didn't turn off this light in the kitchen that I normally turn off before we start, guys. So I think that means the stream's going to be ruined. Most important question. Let's just start with this. Adam H has asked, where is this? Henry, are you going to the Whiskey Tribe event? Henry, I don't know what that is. Are you going to the Whiskey Tribe event?
I am not.
Okay, cool. I have no idea what that is. But all I know now is that Henry is not going. So there you go. Someone said it's so blue. It is. I'm messing with lights today, guys. I'm messing with lights. Or maybe what I'm trying to do is show you guys how I feel in lights. Let's see what happens if I turn that off. Is that better?
You're looking warmer, less frozen.
Okay. I mean, I do like to be a little bit frozen. I'm a cold guy. Okay, cool. I might keep messing with the lights as we go, guys, because
I think you
it
look
is what it is.
fantastic now.
Wow. Well, there you go. Um, let's see. Curtis said, "Are we gonna get a Wisecrack edition? Ocean Gate, Deep or Dumb? Is that the is that the Titanic thing? What's up, Dirkster?
Yeah, I
Um,
suppose that's one of the titles they're running with for the rich people stuck in the tin can. Yes.
yeah. Oh my God, I see that Nelson has already gifted 20 memberships. That's a very kind thing to do. So shouts to Nelson for doing that. And if you've been gifted a membership and you have the fiscal means to give someone else a membership, it's a fun thing to do. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a fun thing to do. Before we really get into it, Henry, I know that you and Lux have been working on a public access show in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
Is that shareable at this point? Is that something people can watch?
You can go to either the Austin Public Access website or they have an Austin Public Access app that you can get on your phone or
Awesome.
your Roku device or whatever. And yeah, 10:30 p.m. on Mondays, and they rerun it throughout the week. I don't know what the rerun times are, but Lux and I, yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing a sketch comedy show on Austin Public Access called Keep It Together.
Okay. Well, let's make sure, guys. Let's figure out how to watch that, and let's go hard. And please do lick the stream. Um, And someone has commented, yeah, the reason that I went for the bluer lighting is to honor. I don't want to be mean. I was going to say to honor the people stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Um, it's a tough one. I don't. It feels kind of icky. The people that this is like a media story that we're all obsessed with. I saw one clip where I think it was an astronaut referred to the people doing that as like explorers. And I will say this. If you die as an experienced climber climbing Mount Everest, I say you die an explorer and an adventurer's death. If you die because you're a billionaire who can pay, $250,000 to take a ride to the bottom of the sea, you're not an adventurer. You are a very wealthy adventure tourist. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah,
So
there's the element of like deserved hubris, and then there's the element of kind of just like kicking the dead horse as far as like the jokes go with it. But yeah.
yes, but I'll say this as well. It's people are going to are they're probably dead. They're probably going to die. I don't say that to be glib. I say that to say that it's fun to maybe joke and think about the meta-ness of all this, but like it's not like cool when people die. I don't want to be like a scold or anything, but it's not like cool
Yeah,
when
it's
people die. I know that's not a
it,
hot
it
take by
it's
me.
it's it is an example of our political imagination being, punishment or scapegoat minded more than solution minded.
Yeah. So Ryan said, "You know how expensive it is to climb Everest." Well, to be clear, I know it's expensive to climb Everest. One of my favorite TV shows of all time was called Everest Beyond the Limit from the Discovery Channel. Look it up if you haven't. I swear, season one of Everest Beyond the Limit is one of the best things I've ever watched in my life. But what's up, Logan Mansion Games? But there is a skill involved. Now, to be clear, there are some people that climb Everest who are also tourists who pay people a lot of money to risk their lives to take them up there, and fuck those people. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But I shouldn't be talking about any of this. My chat's being weird again today too, guys. So, hopefully hopefully I see all the good stuff. What's up, Julia? Glad you're here. Nelson said Musk should have been on that sub. Nah, no way. Why would you say that? So lots to talk about today, lots to get into. Let's start with some basic stuff like the stream if you're here. If you have any messages for us, you can always hit us up at wisecracklive666@gmail.com. I have a challenge for you guys I'll introduce later. For those of you that are creative, for those of you that like writing, maybe designing graphics, I have a challenge for you and a way to get you involved in the production of this program. So, there you go. Dead Card says, I don't want them to be dead. referring to Henry and I, but I do question why their misfortune deserves more attention than anything else going on in the country. No, and I think that's a very good point. And the Onion had a great thing today, and I'm not going to try to like misquote an Onion headline, but the gist of it being, ships of migrants will go down and 30 people die, while government forces are sometimes not really helping to save their lives. And that's a flash in the pan. And then when five super wealthy people who make an active choice out of their own free will do something, we're like, oh no. So yeah, I'll tell you what my chat looks like, by the way. Yeah, someone said I think YouTube chat is messed up. I really think it is. Um, the chat's basically updating for me, although at the end, at the bottom of mine, I've seen Daniel Santiago Hurtado's comment. It's more cozy for the entire time thus far. Yes, Michael,
That's
I
from a
will
while
say
back.
more.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and it's just there. So something about your comment makes it the best one because it won't leave the chat. Okay. Also a fun thing. You guys know I've never seen the movie Titanic and I'll never see it. And that's what I got to say. And someone brought up that going to the Titanic feels like grave robbing. So there you go. But a lot to get into today. We had a big week on the channel since we all last hung out. We put out 2 videos. One, and I guess they're kind of related, a video on wokeness and a video on Marxism. Both videos that I don't want to say that we were hesitant to put out, but things we were like waiting for a while. And I'll say this, those are 2 videos that we would not have put on the channel like a year ago, even. So I want to thank you all for creating a sort of landscape culture on the channel where we can do that. It means a lot, but it's fun to do. They both got pretty good responses. If you have thoughts, please let us know. Penny's husband loved the Marx video, so that's awesome. Really appreciate that. But yeah, the gist with both of them, right, with the video on wokeness was to just say like, not to criticize right-wing politicians, not to criticize, not to do some sort of like contemporary critique as such, but to look at the origins of the term, like where it comes from, how it started getting used, the way it's been used now. And then some might have thought, oh, I'm not going to click this because the Wisecrack, communist cell group is going to use this to do propaganda. But we also went pretty hard at the liberal use of it and the way in which corporations will just like woke wash what they're doing. So kind of on how both sides it's been used like that. Thank you for the positive comments there. So, I'm happy with how that one turned out. Shouts as always to Amanda Shirker, Wisecrack's head of editorial, the best writer, researcher in the game. And then did a video on Marxism. Now, our buddy Tom Wyman helped out with this. If you're not aware of Tom Wyman, he's a philosopher based in England. He wrote one very cool book on basically the question of like, what does it mean to bring a child into the world in this fucked up world? The book's called Infinitely Full of Hope. I highly recommend it. But he also edited a new edition of Marx's German Ideology with an introduction, which is really cool. But he helped us with that one. And of course, the gist on the Marx video was again to just say like, people on the right and people in the center and on the liberal side of things are very critical of Marx and Marxism. And what we always want to get into is like, but why? And are they critiquing the right thing? In a sense, this could be seen as a companion piece to the video we did on Jordan Peterson and Marxism. Because the basic gist there again is like, it is fine and good to critique Marx because he's not perfect. No ideological figure, writer, philosopher, economist, historian is perfect and right all the time. That would be very stupid to say for anyone. But if we're going to critique people, let's critique them for the right reasons and let's understand what they're saying. And, even some of the comments on that one very much show that people are still, people don't want to read and maybe, we don't always have to read the big books of people, but we should have the discernment to get our analysis from people who know what they're talking about. So, we wanted that Marx video to just give you a little picture of what Marx was actually about. And in particular, Marx worked on a lot of stuff, but on the question of communism and the relation between Marx and communism. So there you go. Dare Johnson said the Simpsons are right all the time. Tyler, first live stream in like 2 months. Did I miss the no hat reveal? No, you did not. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, Hector, we did have Tom on Culture Binge. Um, let's see. Michael says, I feel like Marx would encourage critique. Absolutely. Like Marx wrote about this idea of the ruthless critique of everything existing, the idea being that we operate from a position of critique in all things, not a critique to be a dick and be like critical, but to really put ideas through the ringer. And Tyler, thank you for your comment on the Marx video as well. There hasn't been a hat reveal because it's weird, guys. Let's talk about this for a second. We were on this run for a little bit on the stream where we were really cooking. We were really cooking. Then we got to the point numbers wise where I was like, I'm gonna have to show Raw Dome pretty soon. We were cooking so much that I was consciously making sure that I was doing a fresh buzz midweek. So if I had to show Raw Dome, I wouldn't have sloppy top. Do I regret just saying the phrase sloppy top a little bit? But I said it and I can't rewind because this is existence. But I would say our numbers of here's what's happening on our stream. I think you guys are going to start to get annoyed by how much I just talk about, how we make the donuts. But yeah, there was a period right on the stream where like sometimes it would get kind of into like the low 200s, but then we'd get into like 6, 7, 8. Oh wow, this is great. Now we're in the situation where the basement is really high because we have such an amazing contingent of all of you who show up every week and hang out. So our basement is like 400, 500, but our ceiling just hasn't gone up. So we're trying to figure it out. To be clear, we don't want the ceiling to go up because you're not good enough and the stream is only good if it has big numbers, but it just helps us a lot. If the numbers go up a little bit, it looks really good for the company. It allows us to maybe like sell some overall sponsorships and stuff like that to keep the ship afloat. Nelson said, do you watch some more news? I do sometimes. I do not watch every episode. So yeah. So Jello Shots gifted 5 memberships. Real king behavior. Really appreciate it. And Curtis did say, it's okay, we know your sloppy top is raw. I do have the raw sloppy toppy.
If you want that Raw Dome, you got to bring your friends.
You got to bring your friends. So I would say that like if you want Raw Dome, you can just tell people about the stream. I'll tell you this. I was in a meeting yesterday with some people from the creative leadership team for our company, Enthusiast Gaming, meeting a really nice new person who is working on sort of like brand partnerships and stuff. And my boss introduced me and some Wisecrack stuff, and he was like, "Oh, the stream's been going well." And Burns, correct me if I'm wrong. Do they get Raw Dome soon? So I had to like on this meeting with like people with jobs above me who I want to like me. I had to be like, yes, they will get Raw Dome on stream at 1,000 views. And luckily, I think the person new business guy was young and kind of broy, so I think he appreciated it. So there you go. Tyler says if the stream was too big, it would be hard to engage. Yeah, this sounds, let's see. Julia says, do you think there might be a correlation between the topics covered and the number of people? Yeah, absolutely. The correlation between topics, between YouTube sharing, between likes, all that sort of stuff. What I would do, and this is to like Tyler's question. Tyler, on that meeting yesterday, I wore a hoodie and not a hat, and my hoodie was up most of the way. And someone I work with in the chat was like, "This is the most of Burns's dome I've ever seen." So there you go. Vox says, Vox, I want you to reach out to friends who are older than you and say, bring your friends for Raw Dome and sloppy toppies. I'll say this though. I think Tyler asked this question before. If the stream ever got really big, I don't know. I'll have a preference for green usernames. And here's the thing: all of you who have been here for a while, I know you now, so I'm never going to ignore you. And that's my commitment to you. So let's look at some comments from those recent videos. And then we'll get into some stuff. Obviously, on the thumbnail today, guys, Andrew Tate has been indicted, which is really sad for us. Everyone knows we're a big fan of the top G. He means a lot to us. Just a really interesting free thinker. He's really encouraged us to break out of the matrix. And we're going to do a GoFundMe for his legal fees. I'm just kidding. I would rather do a GoFundMe for my own. I would rather have a GoFundMe for an assassin whose job it was to kill me then I would have a GoFundMe for Andrew Tate's legal fees. But we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit later about Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Like they're going to like fight and stuff. And we're not going to do that just because we like news or this sort of stuff. But I'm so curious, like why do dudes like fighting? And I say this as a dude who at times in my life. Go ahead, Henry.
Oh, I was just say they're just dudes being guys, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, the last time we talked about Tate was when we talked about his philosopher roommate post. But you know, I want to talk about that a little bit more about why dudes are guys. We have some other videos queued up. Our friend Alice Capel from France, ever heard of it? Put out a video on celibacy and not having sex. We talked about sex and kink a couple weeks ago very organically, but I'd kind of be curious to maybe watch a little bit of that video because I think trends relating to sexuality are very interesting. I say this as someone who doesn't know what sex is, have never had it, don't know what it looks like, don't know what parts you use, no idea what it feels like, and I close my eyes in movies when sex happens. But so I'll let Alice teach us about that. So let's look at some comments from recent videos. Which one comes up first for you? Great. So the first year from our woke video, this one's, and if I ever show your comment on here and you're in the chat, shout it out and we can give you some love. Also, please keep liking the stream. That helps us. Kevin Beck says, guys like fighting because it's an opportunity for them to overpower an obstacle. Sometimes I think that men, and I'm including myself in this, like sometimes there's the desire for conflict and violence. Yeah, for like an assertion of meaning and power in a world where we might feel like powerless.
Yeah, like a
And a
seizing
way
of
in which,
control.
yeah, and not to do a really weird leap here, but you know, there's this notion we get in philosophers like Hegel of like the process of self-determination, of like a concept superseding other concepts, you know, to sort of assert itself. And I kind of think that's a little bit of what's happening there. Oh, this is helpful. Because again, I don't know what sex is. Peter Gordon says smush body parts together and wiggle a bit. Vox says that baby burns is coming from the stork. Maternity leave starting soon. We'll do an announcement soon. Men slapping meat together. What's not to like? Cool. There's often, have there been any weird Andrew Tate trolls in the chat yet?
Not that
I
I've
feel like sometimes
seen.
so I swear to God, last time we talked about him, guys, it wasn't even in the thumbnail. We were talking about his ad for philosopher roommates on Craigslist. And all of a sudden the chat was full of all these people like, you could never live with the top G. And I couldn't because I don't want
His
to.
wizard has ears everywhere.
Oh my God. So, so let's look at some comments. Also, leave comments on our videos. They're fun. I know this as well. It's largely me and my colleague Olivia. We look at the comments. If there's ever a response to a comment, it's me doing it 99% of the time. Sometimes I leave trolly comments. I left some troll comments recently, so there you go. So the first comment we got from the wokeness video: since politicians are unironically using the word woke now, I hope the next steps they start calling each other soy on the debate stage. I could see that. I could totally see 2024 U.S. presidential election, Trump to Biden being like, "It's soy. He's soy. He says soy.
Yeah,
He's a soy man."
yeah, I've already heard
Go ahead,
like
Henry.
AI generated Trump versus Biden debates where they're just calling each other the soy Pepe and the Chad Pepe.
Yeah. And you see Biden just like, man, I've never had tofu. But hopefully that happens. This next comment from someone who has a really cool user picture of them and a cat says, my dad worked at Motorola during the Red campaign, and I can assure you that the whole campaign certainly helped the upper management get a lot of good bonuses. If you watch the woke video, I criticized, yeah, Penny, if your comment gets hearts, I'm the one giving you that heart. But thanks for liking the stream. Thanks for being here. In the wokeness video I talked about when I was 18, I got this phone. the Motorola Red Razor from U2's Red campaign. And in purchasing this phone, guys, in my mind, I was just like, Dude Abides is totally right. We got to bring back Tie Yourself Up. If anyone else in this chat knows what Tie Yourself Up is, make it be known. Let it be known now. Dude Abides is the most realist of the real ones for knowing what hashtag Tie Yourself Up is. But I got this phone because I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to have a cell phone that shows people that I care about the world and that I'm going to directly fund the economic opportunities in Africa and other places in the world, along with Bono and The Edge and Larry, who's the other guy in U2. I think there's a fourth one as well. It was pretty absurd. It was absurd. And listen, I make fun of myself to say I had great intentions as an 18-year-old, but I just didn't know a lot about how the world worked. So I appreciate that person left that comment. Another one, this person says, my thing is how the system keeps you in a spiral of overwhelming anxiety and burnout to keep people from being woke in the traditional sense. And I thought this was cute that they edited to say, damn, I wasn't expecting all these likes. That's fun. But yeah, I mean, that idea that we live, the AIDS razor. Connor had the AIDS razor too. I'll say that I'm going to admit something as well, guys. Because of when I was a teenager, late, I guess, early 2000s, when I had my red phone and I thought it was really cool, my friends would make fun of me and they would say, oh, have you seen Burns' new phone he got? Because he has AIDS. I'm not saying that was funny, but I'm saying that's what I would get made fun of for. For those of you who are young and you're just like, what did dudes joke about back in the day? That's what dudes joked about back in the day.
Yeah,
it wasn't the best.
That's a Bush era joke.
It wasn't the best. It really was, guys. But you know what? We had an excuse. We were recovering from the trauma of 9/11. So there you go. We had to watch it in school on TV.
I forgot.
Henry forgot that 9/11 happened, guys. We have to remind him every week. Every week, he's like, "Wait, what was that thing again?" This is great. I'm seeing a couple other comments from like an hour ago. Not an hour ago. We haven't been live for an hour. That's great. Okay, thanks for being here. Again, we might get to 666 today, though. I don't think we're going to get domed today. Let's push for 666, guys. So like the stream, share it if you want. There you go. But yeah, guys. Yeah, Michael said he's laughing because he remember how stupid I was. We were so stupid back in the day, guys. We were so stupid. I will say that I was at least the first one in my friend group to start feeling guilty for horrible jokes. But this comment, right? I like it because this idea that that the system creates conditions that keep us so distracted by the everyday that we don't have the ability to think critically about the larger systems that create those conditions of anxiety, I think is really important. It's like when you're the hamster on the wheel that's constantly running, you don't have time to like think about your cage, right? And I think that this comment gets at that really well. And I think that's also why, because sometimes we feel like we don't have the power to make a substantial material critique of conditions in the world, that woke capitalism or whatever can be a simulacrum of real activity. So for example, 18-year-old Michael, well, I can't actually affect the conditions that create poverty around the world, but I can buy a Motorola phone. And maybe today it's like, I don't feel like I have any real ability to dismantle the white supremacy that's in the bones of the American project, but I'll buy Nike stuff because they made a Black Lives Matter commercial or something like that. And to be clear, I'm not critiquing myself for getting that phone or you for getting a Nike shirt or something, but it makes sense that we try to find this micro version of a political activity or efficacy in our consumption habits when we don't really have an opportunity to do that in a social or political sense. Vox is being extra academic in the chat today. Dude Abides is curious to know if it's okay to meme tragedy. Thinking of the Titanic. Yeah, we were talking about this before. Says investigate 311. That's great. Let us know in the chat. Do we want to make a poll on is it okay to meme tragedy?
Yeah, I'm curious too, because I feel like, for instance, the Never Forget thing was a piece of sort of jingoistic propaganda, hence why I still lampoon it to this day. But yeah, we can start some sort of
Let's
tragedy poll.
let's do a poll. Let's just do the poll. Is it okay to meme tragedy? Yes or no? Um, so there you go. Someone in the chat who says, Adrian said our empathy has to start somewhere. It'll evolve and become more directed and efficacious. Yeah, and here's why I say that as well. I think it's important to have. You guys are going to think you might call this Burns's reactionary alt-right corner for what I'm about to say. So get ready. We're in alt-right corner right now.
The poll has started.
Okay, the poll started, but here's my alt-right corner comment. We have to have the ability to understand that people get smarter and more empathetic as they age and grow. And here's what I'm thinking about now. The fact that there are things that I, as a relatively intelligent, well intentioned 17-year-old, would joke about that I would never joke about now. Right. And it's a long time ago. I'm pretty old. But like, I think we have to have a little bit of room to tolerate people being doofuses on their way to developing empathy. And often it's through being a doofus that people can learn empathy. Now, to be clear, what I'm not saying is like we should have empathy for people that do hate crimes. Like fuck that shit. But I don't know. Maybe that's washed. Maybe I'm just being washed now, guys. And I'm just like an old guy who thinks that. But I just, and it depends on conditioning as well. Like when I was a teenager, I was living in Central Florida. I went to a high school where sometimes people would like wave Confederate flags around. Um, the internet wasn't really popping too hard. I don't know. There wasn't social media, so it was a kind of my only real source to any type of political radicalism or critique early on was like sort of underground rap music that would talk about racism, and then it would make me like think about stuff. Um, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being washed. I don't know. Yeah. And someone said, John Ford said, I can't yes. Oh, sorry, that's the other thing, but that still makes sense. But I don't know. Let's look at the poll. We are at 11% that you can't meme and 89 that you can. You guys are fucking sick. This is a chat full of psychos. I'm kidding. Derek Ryle says, it depends on who the tragedy happened to. If a horrible person who had something bad happen to them, I wouldn't care. Also support our whale overlords. Yeah, well, someone's high school is named after the Confederacy. There you go. Dead Prez. Oh, Brandon, I was very much into Dead Prez. Someone says this is a queer, staying away from edgy jokers me matter of safety. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm out of alt-right corner now. But I guess, if the most alt-right thing about me is to say that sometimes people can be dumb before they're smart. There you go. But I was also thinking about this, and there's a video we have coming out. We filmed it yesterday on existentialism. And one of the things we talk about in the video is how JeanPaul Sartre, and real quick comment, anytime we do a video on Sartre and I say Sartre, someone in the comments is like, that's not how you pronounce his name. First of all, if you're not from fucking France, shut up. But second of all, there's this weird expectation. I know that if I was French, it'd be like JeanPaul Sartre. But I'm not French, guys. I'm not going to be hosting a video where I'm like, oh, guys, the thing is when Sartre says, because that'd be ridiculous. I'm an English-speaking American, so there you go. But we talked about Sartre in this video because he's someone who literally changes his mind in the development of his philosophical thought. And I just think that's so important. The people change their mind. We're at 614. We probably won't get Raw Dome, but we might get 666 time. Let's look at some more. Let's look at, the chat's really great today. Let's look at some more comments. Please feel free to vote in the poll, like the stream. Don't cancel alt-right burns. Okay, so this one, remarkable. This is the only topic y'all could have slipped a Masterworks promotion into and have the comment section forget about it. Well done, Wisecrack team. Oh, it was the best. Yeah, guys, we did we had Masterworks sponsor a video. I don't think Masterworks is ever going to watch this stream. I would say that is the most dead sold ad read I've done in my life. They write the ad reads for us and they're insane. I shouldn't be saying this, but they're insane. They're like, we too think that nihilism is important. And the way you could fight it is investing in art. It's just like, whatever. But again, here's the thing, you all are smart. You are. You're discerning smart people. So sometimes we do ads for stuff like this. Like, I know that you're not going to invest in weird art products. I know you're not. You know that I don't want you to do that. We all know that the weird art company is paying us money to make a video on whatever the fuck we want. But I thought that comment was very funny, but I've said too much. Um, okay, so here's another one that says, it's so frustrating that so many wisecrack videos pull back the curtain of controversy to show that someone is only propagating it to better themselves. I love that you're spitting facts, but it truly is an ugly truth. Another thought-provoking vid. Thanks, Wisecrack. It's a balance, guys. I know. I'm curious what you think about this too. Sometimes it's like, what am I trying to say? It's that balance between making videos about things that are real and are getting at something true without bumming you out too much. And we're really trying to find that balance, you know? So let us know how we're doing that. Ryan says there was an IQ test before we admitted to the stream. There is. If you got in this stream without the IQ test, please leave. Do not leave. We need these numbers. I mean, we need 60 more people to where we can at least, we haven't done 666 in a while, guys. I think Satan's disappointed with us. Speaking of that, wisecracklive666@gmail.com. It's an email. We check it sometimes. Okay, next comment. I believe Black Mirror's 15 Million Merits episode showed well how even wokeness can be turned against the protagonist, who in the end just becomes part of the thing he sought to destroy. Yes, good comment. If anyone's, Henry, have you watched any of the new Black Mirror?
No, I haven't watched the new series yet.
Me either. And honestly, I bet it'll be a while before I watch it. Have you watched Secret Invasion, Henry? Is that something you're going to watch?
I don't think I'm going to watch it. No.
Yeah, I haven't yet. We'll see. I might just save it. I'm kind of saving some shows for when I'm on paternity leave. And not to be disrespectful, but I feel like Secret Invasion might be a show that's better when I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah, my track
So,
record with those Marvel series is to just wait and slingshot them back to back because they have structural issues on an episode level I typically don't like.
yeah. Rambling at E says, how do I prevent myself from developing contempt for the people in general after working in the service industry for the last 2 years during uni? I think that's really tough. I'm curious what you all think. Part of me does think, and I'm someone who's trying to become a more empathetic, understanding person. Part of me thinks the biggest litmus test for someone's moral character is how they treat people that work in the service industry, whether that be a bus driver, a waiter, a bartender, a barista, whatever. And I don't think that means that someone has to kiss their feet, but just to treat them like a human. I don't know. Um, I don't know. And but then part of me thinks there's this weird culture, especially in America. The customer's always right. So people feel like when they're out and about, they can do whatever the fuck they want. But I don't know. I mean, are there reasons why someone can, can a decent person treat a service industry worker poorly? I don't know, but I'm curious if anyone wants to help out. Sorry, the chat went ahead, so I lost the name of the person that asked that question. But I'd be curious if anyone else has thoughts on that. Um, let's see. The chat is crazy for me.
Yeah, they are bringing up, and this did kind of rub me the wrong way, is the intro to Secret Invasion is AI generated, apparently.
That's not fun. That's not fun. I just think that's really dumb. Okay. John Ford said something about how everyone should have a year of service work. Yeah, I agree. Okay, now where is okay to meme tragedy? 13% says no, so we're moving up there. Penny says people who go to restaurants who don't work there have been trained to believe they are better. Yeah. Michael says, I will say what bugs me is when I'm nicer to a service worker than they are to me. Michael, I'm totally the same sometimes, and I've had to work on that. And I've had some, friends who are service industry workers remind me that sometimes they're just like doing their job and they don't want to go above and beyond for emotional labor. And it makes me think of being in non-American countries. And let me know, non-American friends in the chat. But I feel like when I've been in like France and stuff like that, the servers, they get the job done. They're not rude. They're not friendly. They do the precise job that they're there to do. They come to the table. They ask what you want. They bring you what you want. They leave you alone. If you want something else, you go, you know, I don't know, but I'm trying to, Michael, to respond to what you're saying. I'm trying to get to the point where I just like as a baseline am friendly. And if a server is not friendly back to me, I think what I try to think, and service industry workers in the chat, let me know if this might be the case. I just try to think to myself, you know what? Like they might be having the shittiest shift of their life, or they might have had the worst day and they had to come into work and they're just trying to get through it. And for me, sometimes in my job, if I'm having a bad day, I can maybe just like turn off my camera in meetings and not really deal with people. But if you're in service, you have to do that. So I don't know. There's some thoughts on that, guys. The chat is wild. It's slowly. I'm gonna reload my chat so I can hopefully see things clearly. Oh, it's still okay. I'm
I
gonna
got
close my app and
Zachary
reopen it.
Zachary Vinardo. Yeah, Zachary Vinardo says, "I heard one trait of white supremacy is replacing culture with consumerism. So the denial of service is the denial of culture, thus a Karen."
Wow.
And yeah, there's
Sorry.
something to that. Like when we had to lock down for COVID, and people didn't get their opportunity to boss around wait staff. The daily
Mhm.
power trip's gone.
Yeah. Adrian says the meta game is the comment when Burns is not talking and looking at the stream. That is the move. That's totally the move. Okay, I got my chat is it's reloaded. Let's get through the rest of these comments. These are from the Marx video. Someone said, "We are living in a material world, and I am a material girl." Marx, probably love it. We're 20 away from 666, guys. Let's do it. If you haven't liked the stream yet, like it. If you have a friend who you think might like it, send it to them and say, "Click this link, or I'm going to kill your family," or something like that. Don't do that. Me and my friends would do that because we're sickos that watched 9/11 in school. But if you didn't watch 9/11 on TV in high school English class with, I think my teacher was Dr. Simmons. I think her name was Simmons. It was 11th grade English. She was a doctor. Good for her. And that's when we watched it. Okay. Yes, Dare Johnson. I am reloaded. Sigurd's from Denmark. I probably butchered your name. I'm so sorry. He's never been to the US. I appreciate it more when a waiter or barista is extra friendly because I know they don't have to. Again, I'm going to say your name wrong. Sigurd from Denmark. I'm currently reading a book on Danish parenting and why you guys are better than us. I've so far read a book on French parenting. Now I'm reading a book on Danish parenting. One thing I like about the book on Danish parenting is it talks about how supposedly in Denmark, if you're like a kid and you draw like a picture of something kind of dumb and you show it to your parents, the parents not going to be like, "Oh my God, you're the best artist ever." They might be like, "What's that? What were you thinking of when you drew that?" Like a little more inquisitive. Um, and I guess that's why Danish people aren't as obnoxious as we are. I have a small sample size of Danish people. I spent a solid amount of time there. I was a visiting lecturer at a university there once, and I love Denmark. And most people I know from Denmark I like a lot. Danes shouted out in the chat. Pathfinder just said Building 7. Exactly. Husk is watching
What is
from
everyone
Turkey.
talking about?
I don't know. Chaotic chat. We keep getting so close to 666. Is membership or Patreon subscriptions a form of tipping for free content? I do think so, right? Because here's the thing. All of our content is free. The price of admission for our content is sometimes you have to watch me be like, and then this video is brought to you by guns. The gun manufacturer paid us to make this video. We're supporting violent American ideology. Click the link in the description to buy guns. You have to deal with that, but you get free videos. The same way when you watch TV, you have to deal with commercials. You have to deal with Flo from Progressive. You don't have to deal with her. She's delightful. Oh, guys, I was at a concert last night and I sat next to a guy who's in a very popular American commercial. I'll tell you about it later. But I would always say, like, keep getting close to 666. If you have the money to throw us some bones, it is appreciated. If you do not, that is also fine. That's what I think. That's what I think. Thanks for liking the Marx video, NT RPK. Sigurd, oh, I got close. I'll write up some comments about Danish parenting. See you in a few minutes. Awesome. And if you have longer thoughts on Danish parenting, hit us up at Wisecrack Live 666. Also, anyone who maybe we'll do this before I go on parental leave, let's start collecting parenting advice. So any of you who are parents, if you want to start sending your best parenting advice to Wisecrack Live 666 at gmail.com, we will go through that on the final stream before we take a break. Let's get through the rest of these comments. We're really, this was supposed to take 30 minutes. Now we're halfway in. Kevin says the most ironic thing about politicians spouting off about the dangers of communism is that within the first few pages of the Communist Manifesto, Marx and Engels talk about politicians who spout off about the dangers of communism. And here's the thing, guys. This is why I get so annoyed with everything in society. Like a lot of the books that we're not supposed to read and the stuff, they say the stuff. No one reads anything, guys. No one reads anything. What are you going to do? Okay. Couple more comments. Nelson. Very nice. Nelson says, please don't ever accept money from the shooty devices. I'm calling them that in case it blocks the super chat. Nelson, thank you so much. King of the chat. Maeve. Good joke about Danish parents. I like it. Vox watches the ads because he likes the ad reads. He likes the dead eyes. Well, people are connecting in real life over Wisecrack. That's great. Yeah, the last live stream parental advice. That's what I'm saying. Nelson's really cool. We like Nelson a lot. We like Nelson a whole lot. So everyone, you know what? If you're in the chat, just say thanks to Nelson. He does a lot to support this stream, and it means a lot to us. It means a lot. All of you mean a lot to us. But let's give Nelson some love.
Yeah.
We're now at 85 to 15 on Is It Okay to Meme Tragedy. One of the last comments, it says, it shouldn't come as a surprise that Marx is misunderstood. Really getting his ideas books. This one says, Marx wouldn't want the Wisecrack team to own the channel. He would want the team to own YouTube. I made a comment about an example where if we owned the channel, Marx would like that, but no one get mad at me. Also, someone left a comment, and I can't tell if they're joking or not. There's a point in the video where I say that, and then when we were filming, I said, just kidding, I love my boss, and I did like a kissing motion, and then I said, hey guys, don't put that in the video. But then our friend Jackson put it in the video, but someone left a comment. This was like horrible bootlicking. And I was like, do you really think that was me saying I love my boss and I want to kiss them? I don't want to kiss my boss. Nelson, we'll never forget the 420 you spent on 420. And so guys, a funny thing happened. I do like reports about like the stream to send to my boss to let him know how it's going. So it's like, oh, here's our numbers. Here's the, memberships and stuff like that. And there was one week where our revenue was just crazy high. And they were like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I was like, fuck, where'd we get all this money? And I was like, oh, it's because Nelson donated 420. And I had to tell my boss, oh, it's because one guy gave us 420. And Nelson, I hope I didn't misgender you. I just assumed. I assumed I could call you a guy. If that's wrong, let me know. I think this is the last comment, maybe second to last. I agree with Mark that the ideal we should strive for is to give people more freedom to just be people. How close we can get to that ideal and how we can get there is what I'm unsure of. Here's why I like this comment. Let me tell you why I like Nelson did it again. Captain Nelson, Captain Mercer. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Yeah, Dude Abides Jackson. We're talking about Skip Intro. We love Skip Intro. Great channel. Thanks for being here. Thanks for liking the stream. Let's see. Here's why I like this comment. If I say to you something like, oh, I like Marx, I read Marx, whatever. What I'm not saying to you is, I think Marx is right about everything. I think Marx gives us a blueprint for whatever. I think that his critique is really good. And this is something we get into in the video. What Marx primarily wrote about wasn't a positive program for the creation of communism. What he mostly wrote about was a systemic critique of capitalism and the effect of capitalism on human beings. And I think that's the really interesting thing. So when he talks about giving people more freedom, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's it. But, oh, there's a fun comment. What do the happiest people in the world know about parenting? They know how to live in Denmark. But that's why I think Marx is important. But no, and with the parenting book thing as well, I think that's a really good comment. It's hard to like think about why people in Denmark would be happy when it's also like they have a better healthcare system than America. They have a better education system than America. They have better public services, public transportation, public arts program, much better baked goods, a lot of parks. There's a lot of reasons that it would make sense. Okay, let's talk about this a little bit, guys. I'm gonna load the Tate video.
Romanian
Now,
authorities have indicted
here's the situation
divisive
here,
internet
guys.
personality Andrew
Famous
Tate, his brother, and
roommate
two
wanter,
others
Andrew
on
Tate. So he was arrested on charges of, and okay, we are going to talk about, we will lightly talk about rape and sex trafficking in this context. If that's a huge bummer for anyone, maybe tap out for like 5 minutes. And thanks for being here. Like the stream. We're all friends. My chat is just such a mess. So if anyone really does feel like I'm ignoring you today, know that it's because the chat interface for me is a chaotic mess. Let's see. Okay. So Andrew Tate, a guy who we know, who we don't like, was arrested on charges of rape and sex trafficking. And we know that part of that involves him basically luring women to live in these houses where he forced them to work as digital sex workers. There was a lot of other abuse stuff there. Not good, guys. It was not good stuff. And now he's been indicted in Romania, which means he's going to go on trial, might go to jail.
Romanian authorities have indicted.
Let's watch his perp walk. Also, here's the thing about Andrew Tate. This is what I'm going to say is not important. What I'm going to say, the parenting tips from emails will get read. I swear to God. This is not important. This is not a substantive critique. This is not what's important. But Andrew Tate is a self-hating bald man. He said that he shaved his head by choice. We know from various photos when he was in jail that is not true. That's probably the thing I hate most about him.
A divisive internet personality.
Oh, we're really close to 666, guys. Let me know. If someone sees it, let me know.
Andrew Tate, his brother, and two others on charges of human trafficking and rape. The group is also accused of forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women. Tate, his brother Tristan, and two Romanian female suspects have been under house.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing 663, but it went down. Someone said we did it. I trust Vox. So, on the count of 3, everyone say it with me. 1, 2, 3. 6, 6, 6. 666. That's my new attempt at a 666 theme song. I saw some metal music last night, guys, so it's in my head right now.
What'd you see?
I saw King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Nice.
Play a 3-hour show at the Hollywood Bowl here in Los Angeles, California. Thanks for letting us get to 6. I kind of missed it, guys. I missed it. So thanks for that. Note that if you are here and you're deeply committed to any positive conception of a non-satanic deity, we're not here to say that like Satan is good or God is bad. It's just a fun bit. It's just a fun bit. Okay, guys? We're here for everyone. We're here for all. Okay. So let's go. This is Avenged Sevenfold Live. Tyler Smith said we tore a hole into the hell dimension. Surya said 666. And B said, am I devil? And Matt said that impression dropped us 10 viewers. Tristan said we crashed the phone. I see 681. Someone said insert Doom soundtrack. Sounds like Ryan Haley type deal. Yeah. Are we all satanic now? Are we? I don't know. Speaking of satanic people, oh wow, Joseph is tuning in from Ireland. Have a good one. Everyone knows that I have a special love of Ireland, so that means I especially love Joseph Salisbury today. Sorry. I said King Gizzard did metal because they played like 40 minutes of metal music. So there you go. And I like how 666 happened right when we started talking about Andrew Tate. So if Satan is real, he's like, yep, this is my guy. This is my guy. Husk, I'm sorry that your headphones exploded. NB, you walked into heaven. John Ford said, you're a divisive internet personality. If you were arrested in Eastern Europe somewhere someday, where and for what? Fun answers only. Wow. I think if I was arrested in Eastern Europe, it would be for like a tweet. It would be that I would say something insane on Twitter. Like I would be out in an Eastern European bar. I'd be like drinking vodka with the locals, having a hell of a time. I'd get back to my weird hotel and I would say something like, you know, if Romania had an Al Qaeda, I'd join it. These guys are fun. And then the feds would drag me into a hole or something like that. So that's what I would say. But everyone else, let us know your answer. If you were a divisive internet personality, what are you getting arrested for? Okay, let's just watch the rest of his perp walk.
Arrest during a criminal investigation into alleged abuse committed against 7 women. They have all denied those allegations and continue to claim their innocence. The trial
See, that's not someone who's losing their hair. Just
start
admit
immediately because under Romanian law, the case gets sent to the court's preliminary chamber where a judge has 60 days to inspect the case files to ensure legal.
Ooh. Dara Johnson says, I'm arrested in Lithuania for stealing all the yogurt. I find that very funny. I know it's annoying to say that I find it funny. Oh, yeah, Burns boxers. That was a thing. God, we got to do a better job of keeping up with the lore. We got to do it. We really gotta. Here, I'm gonna do something crazy. While we're streaming, I'm gonna do something crazy in a second. But we'll keep talking. I mean, one could ask like why would we talk about Tate? Why we care about this? Hey, have you known anyone? And I don't want to like throw anyone under the bus here, Henry. Have you ever had like friends or people adjacent to you who have, you know, been at all influenced by someone like Tate or been like, I don't know, he has some stuff?
I was about to say, I think I'm a bit too old, and my friend circle's a bit too old for Tate. But I definitely knew some like Joe Rogan guys, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff is more invisibly influential than we realize, or at least for me, because I'm a millennial, I'm still in a bit of like a cable TV or like top down mindset when it comes to entertainment. But like, yeah.
Okay. Oh no. Sorry, I clicked something bad on my computer, everyone. Let's see, where are we at with the meme tragedy thing? We're still at 18 to 15. I know, Joseph. We don't say it right.
And Jordan Peterson,
it's always that weird
guys.
thing. Yeah, that's a thing. I know. So Joseph brings up an interesting question. So he says the way you Americans say Ireland is so funny to me. Ireland. I always wonder, like, what do we think the balance is, guys, between. So, for example, if I was having a conversation with someone about South America, I might say, oh, I've never been to Argentina. Now, I know it's like Argentina or whatever it is, but I would feel silly saying that. So what do we think the balance is, you know? Like what do we think what's the balance between saying a thing in the pronouncing something in a way that's indicative to our native tongue or pronouncing something relative to the language or dialect? Question makes sense. Oh no. What is happening? Can you hear me, Henry? Okay, I think I might know why. So give me 1 second.
Stand by for technical difficulties.
Yeah, you hold it down for a second, Henry. Just chill with the chat. I think I know what's doing it, and I think I'm gonna be able to fix the problem in a second. I mean, yeah, whatever you want to do. I just don't. I don't love going to pre-roll because I feel like people will leave.
Okay, well, you're coming through pretty solid again now.
Yeah, let's wait it out because I think I know why this is happening, guys. All that happened because I did something. I just made a Google Doc on the Wisecrack 666 email list. I sent the link to Henry. Henry, can you post that link in the chat? Guys, I made a Wisecrack live lore doc. Now, I'm going to make it public, but then I'm going to be able to edit it and kick people off and do stuff. Yeah, it's because I opened like a bunch of Google tabs and did that. So from here on out, that is a doc. You can use this doc to add Wisecrack lore, Wisecrack live lore, to be clear. So the things that we talk about. So anything that comes up that you want to remember, you can put it in that doc. Bookmark it if you want to. I'll make the doc nicer later. We can have it there. So there you go.
We can paste it in the Discord as well.
We'll paste it in the Discord. So there you go. It says is video still desynced? Yeah, Vox says like when random white Americans say Mexico. To me, that would feel ridiculous. Or like Cuba. Like I would feel silly if I was like, yeah, I went to Argentina, then we went to Mexico, went to Cuba. Like what I don't know. It would feel silly. It would feel silly.
Now video
but I
is
don't
a
know.
little desynced, but your audio is coming through clear.
I'm gonna do video off and back on. Uh-oh, where did he go? Is he dead?
Thanks for bearing with us through this real-time BTS.
Hello. I saw someone bring up Schedule 35 page. I've tried Schedule 35. I tried some of it yesterday. I tried some last night. Here's the thing. I ate some Schedule 35 products last night at the King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard concert. It was a very nice time. I dosed appropriately. I took a little bit and I waited an hour. And guys, I'm such a nerd. If I do something like take rooms, I will set an alarm on my watch or my phone for an hour. So I know to wait at least an hour to see how I feel, to then decide if I'm going to take more or not. So there you go. Okay. Oh yeah, Joseph. I think this is totally right. That's interesting, but it's so funny to me that so many Americans claim to be. Yeah, Joseph, you're totally right. I say this as an obnoxious American, like Irish American. I try to say Irish American and not Irish. It's like, I'm not from fucking Ireland. Some of my relatives are. I appreciate them. I appreciate aspects of the culture and stuff like that. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I will say this, Joseph. I at least pronounce words correctly when singing Irish music. That's where I let myself go ridiculous. If I'm singing some tunes, I go for it in that sense. So there we go. Okay. Let's see. We got a little distracted. By we, I mean me. Yeah. I don't know. I had this like longer article on Tate that I interesting, but maybe we like do the quickly talk. Oh no, I'm breaking up again.
Yeah, maybe it's Andrew Tate's goons.
Fuck. Guys, Tate's taking us down. Tate's taking us down.
Okay, you're clear now, though. We can go back to video or do the article.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not going to look at the Google Doc till after the stream. But if anyone says anything like really fucked up, guys, delete it, or mark it or something like that. But I guess because I kind of want to talk about weird dude culture in general, is maybe the move that we quickly watch this Musk and Zuck thing and then go look at that article.
Yeah, let's
kind of consider together.
Let's move on to the billionaire boys wanting to
now before we hit the break, a little bit of breaking.
Guys, I gotta pause this. If anyone, I wish we could rewind and look at Henry again, say the billionaire boys are gonna dick wave. That's amazing. That's amazing. I know. I wonder if the stream will go bad soon, because guys, I downgraded my internet recently because I stream from home, but was paying a really intense amount for my internet, like the best option we could possibly get. So we went down a little bit because it just costs a lot of money, and it's not like my company pays for internets. Joseph says, just out of curiosity, whereabouts in Ireland are your funeral contacts from? Personally, I'm going to say it wrong, just past the border into the north. Listowel, Joseph, I'm pretty sure Listowel, kind of the southwest, I want to say County Kerry, but don't kill me if I'm wrong on that, Joseph, but from a town called Listowel. I went there once, and I had this expectation that I would like pull into town and and the air would sing with the sweet songs of my ancestral home. My spirit would feel like it had found a place where it belonged. And I stepped out of the car and there was horse shit everywhere, because that was the day where I guess the farmers brought like horses into town to like sell and trade horses. So the whole place just smelled like horse shit. And then part of me felt like, what's more appropriate than that, especially from in terms of thinking about like a vaguely dark and ironic Irish humor. I kind of liked it. I mean, I didn't like the shit smell, but there you go. Okay, thanks for being here, Wisecrack Live. Before we get into this Musk video, I have another way I want people to get involved. I had an idea, and you all can let me know what you think of this idea. But we've talked before about how people don't love ad reads when we do them, and how you think the companies are bad. So I have a challenge for you. If you want, and this is why I said before, if writers, graphic designers, humorists want to get involved, what if, Outright Tiny had a similar experience. I love it. What if you wrote an ad for a fake company or product that is just the worst YouTube sponsorship that you could imagine me reading? Now, can't be offensive. You can't have it be, I almost just said something that would be too dark, but I don't want to say that. It can't be fucked up. It can't be something I can't say out loud. But the most ridiculous thing you can think of, you can write the ad copy, and let's keep it short, a few hundred words max, some zippy ad copy. If you are a graphic designer, or even if you're not, design a logo or an ad. We will put it on screen and I will read some of these. I think that would be fun. Now, right off the bat, Henry, dumb idea, solid idea, iffy idea.
I think it's an excellent idea. I'm very curious to see what we get thrown back at us.
Okay. And I think that, that is how we could finally have some solid stream ads. Mr. Know Nothing recommended this book by Siri Husvet. Oh yeah. A woman looking at men, looking at women, essays on art, sex, and mind. We read that for a video we did, which sounded good. Dara's parents are from Wexford. There we go. We're doing Irish chat here. I think there was a stream at one point. I think one of our first streams that a lot of people was when the Queen died, and I played like IRA music on the stream. And then, yeah, that was our first like controversial thing, because I was just and there were some Irish people in chat today encouraging me. And so, speaking about memeing tragedy, we did it hard that day. We're now up to 16%. If you haven't voted in the meme tragedy poll yet, please feel free to do so. Crazy Tom says, can it be worse than Masterworks? Okay, guys, Michael will collaborate with a writer. So if you think of yourself as someone that could write like a funny thing, Michael will help you make some ads. Maeve has a good idea too. Ads from individual philosophers. So if you also want to write an ad for something like that, I think that would be fun. So Daily Wire ad read. Yeah, you could do one for that. Today's video brought to you by our friends at Throat Share, because real love is sharing your throat. So that's just a fun challenge we have. You can hit us up at Wisecrack Live 666. Hit me up on Twitter or something if you need to. But let's get back to dudes being weird. So Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are talking about how they're going to like fight because, okay, well, let's talk about this. It seems like it is the natural flow of a certain type of wealthy man. Now, this man starts as like a typical nerd, someone that we could relate to, someone that many of us would have been around or something like that. Then the nerd gets successful, gets some money, and the nerd maybe gets stylish or something like that. The nerd gets some nicer clothes, whatever it might be. They start to become a little businessy. But then at a certain point, the nerd stops feeling. They have all the money in the world, they have influence, but there's nothing here. So then they get into like CrossFit, military training, and like taking control of their body. They've gone from digital control to physical control. Nelson asked if we could listen to Come Out, You Black and God, I would love to. Interlace, we're getting back to it, I promise. I wish we could, Nelson. That's why that stream got taken down, because I showed a video of that song that had Irish soldiers like shooting English soldiers. And that's why YouTube was like, you can't keep this up. You showed a video of IRA soldiers doing violence against the English, or Northern Irish forces, I think. So, yeah. Guys, Vox said they just announced the sub imploded or exploded.
What?
Oh, fuck. Ooh. Yeah. Maybe if there's like a news stream, maybe we could watch that. Wow. Let's see if the tragedy meme poll starts changing. Oh man. Okay, so Henry's gonna see if we can find a link to some live stream stuff of that. Let's watch this video for now.
A little bit of breaking news, perhaps. Speaking of Tesla, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg appears to be taking on Elon Musk's offer of a cage fight. As you can see, they're doing a pretty popular meme in terms of send me location. And, you know, you can talk about, you know, Tanny, whether you think this is silly.
I need my glasses. I can't see that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering.
To the cage fight. We've talked before.
I'm wondering too if you guys think this is real. Like, is it a real thing that Mark Zuckerberg wants to fight Elon Musk?
They're basically challenging each other to the cage fight. We've talked before. And
okay, so Sky News has good coverage, so Henry can look into that.
Before about, you know, Mark Zuckerberg being pretty good at jiu-jitsu.
Mavericks, here is him.
You could probably use this as a metaphor as well, like whether or not they fight or not, who knows. But Meta.
People are calling for a fight.
And hopefully they do, for our sakes. But they could be setting up for a pretty big fight when it comes to Twitter and Threads, because Meta is launching a service that is incredibly similar to Twitter, and considering how much Elon just paid for Twitter.
I didn't know that. So is this, you know what this is reminding me of? This is gonna really old millennial. There was a time in which I think it was Kanye West's Graduation album was coming out at the same day as a 50 Cent album, and there was this whole like thing where they were mad at each other, and 50 Cent was going to quit rap or something like that, but it was all for publicity.
Twitter, he might be a little bit.
If you don't know that Vox is Chris Maverick at this point, welcome to the stream. You must be new here. We're glad to have you.
About that as well.
Right. And I think in an internal meeting, you had Mark Zuckerberg point out that Twitter should have had 1 billion followers by now. And given what he's done with obviously not just Facebook, but how he's ramped up Instagram and, you know, what he's done with the other properties. WhatsApp, of course, has disrupted the game.
Yeah. So, okay. So, wow. Yeah. Do you want to add watch together, or do you want me to add it? If you send the link, I can do that, or you can toss it in there, whatever. Oh, here. Oh, I see it. Okay, cool. Wait, which link? Okay, cool. So YouTube. We'll watch this for a little bit, guys, and it just seems, I guess it feels weird to not, I guess. Let's see.
We were talking about it earlier, and we do have...
we do have a number of
field of debris. That would be consistent scenario whereby something went catastrophically wrong, and this vessel was subject to the kind of pressures that you get 4,000 meters.
Oh wait, do we need to go to the live?
Remote operations on remote operations on the sea floor, remote operations on the sea floor, remote
operations. Oh no!
Otherwise, we can't stay afloat. It's really, and
this is so confusing, guys. I'm gonna try to reload
about, do you think that there should be changes in safety?
I wonder if this is starting from the beginning and not actually going live.
With us, whereby
here we go.
Something went catastrophically wrong, and this vessel.
This isn't. Should we try another one? See if it works. Is it like a? Yeah. Thanks for hanging out for this, guys, as we try to figure it out. Like the stream, if you are impressed with our acumen. Okay, I'll try this one.
Good evening, and we begin with breaking news. And the US Coast Guard says a debris field has been discovered by a remote underwater vehicle searching the Atlantic for a missing submersible. We understand that the debris...
Yeah, I wonder, is there like a CNN live streamer? Oh, someone says BBC has one. Yeah. Okay. Do you mind if I make an image for the lore doc? Michael, go ahead. You have permission. You have full permission. Okay, we have 711 votes now in the poll. So there you go. While we get this loaded and we're looking around again, you might have looked at the thumbnail for this. Been like, let's talk about this stuff. So, I'm gonna bounce around a little bit. I think that we're still interested in and this is why we're talking about being a fight boy now thing. It's this obsession with violence and self-mastery, control. And I'll put on my I guess somewhat of an empathy hat thing. Why would it be, someone says NPR has it too. Why would it be that dudes are so attracted to physical fitness, self-mastery, making money, self-sufficiency, whatever? Well, maybe it's a deep internalized misogyny. Maybe it's a weird sort of gender-based narcissism grounded in militaristic and religious traditions of patriarchy or something like that. Maybe it's that people feel like, I don't know, work with me here. Maybe it's the people feel and some young dudes feel like life kind of sucks. Like they were promised something cool and life kind of sucks and there's not a lot to do. And there doesn't seem to be an upward progression for where you could go as a person. So then people who are maybe sad, lonely, isolated, alienated, have these strong men or crying men like Peterson yelling at them about making their beds and starting a business and having sex and getting yoked and all this sort of stuff. And they feel like, yeah, so here we go. Someone's telling me to do something. I could sort of get involved now. I could be a thing or something like that. I don't know. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll get that. But I'm also, maybe this is another case, guys, where I'm just giving too much empathy to people who don't deserve it. And to be clear, I don't really have empathy. I have no empathy for Andrew Tate himself, but for people that get kind of caught up in this stuff.
We're going to go back now to the search for the missing Titanic sub. We weren't expecting to get any more information until 8 o'clock this evening when the US Coast Guard is expected to speak. But our science editor, Rebecca Morell, has got some new information for you now, and it does sound significant.
Yeah, that's right. So we have heard that the president of the Explorers Club, which is a society for marine scientists and explorers, has told the WhatsApp who've been following this search that it was a landing frame and a rear cover from the submersible that's been discovered in the debris field, which is obviously, terrible news for the families involved. So it does sound like there was a catastrophic failure of the submersible. Exactly what happened and when it happened, there is still lots and lots of questions there to ask, but that's the news that's come through.
And from what we understand, this is a debris field that has been found on the seabed, and this is this submersible that managed to get there today after 4 days of searching.
Yeah, that's right. So we saw today earlier on that the research ship sort of coalesced in this one area. They've been quite scattered.
Does this mean that it blew up today or that had already happened?
It's quite scattered until now, and they sent down 2 deep diving submersibles all the way to the seabed. And we had news earlier that a debris field had been found, but now, at that point it could have been the wreckage site around the Titanic. That's very large, but it does seem to be some confirmation of the objects that were there, which does suggest a
just remind us again what it is they've actually found.
So it was the landing frame and the rear cover.
It's very British to be so subtle and kind of say the thing without saying the thing. Real quick, couple of comments I see in here from some of the masculinity stuff. I know we're bouncing around a lot, so thanks for doing that. Someone said, is it a way for the dudes to separate themselves from the non-dudes? Someone said maybe it's as simple as sexual wants. We got disenchanted egos, the disappointed dad archetype. Brenton said this stream is excellent. It's as ADHD focused as me playing Tears of the Kingdom. Love it. You're not wrong. Christopher Maverick says the American and other Western construction of modern masculinity basically explodes just as modernism makes it increasingly useless. That's true. Yeah, because it is useless now. Penny Waldrop says, nope, just a bully mindset, power play. Flute said the example speech was working on me. Let's see. It could also be with two dudes fighting. They want publicity. Exerting violence equals feelings of control. Christopher Pierce says, Christopher Pierce is one of the best cookbook collections in the world. Sorry if I just doxed your cookbooks, Chris. This is what their culture recognizes as our version of peacocking. And desire to pass down your genes is deeply rooted in the unconscious mind. Yeah, sociologist Michael Kimmel, here quoted by Dr. Professor Christopher Maverick, PhD, argues that this means you have to essentially continuously prove masculinity in order to keep it viable. George, thanks for liking the videos this week. Let's see. I know we got a lot of stuff going on in the chat right here. Extreme fitness is a function of privilege, says Professor Puffett. It's easy to get in shape with a trainer, chef, nutritionist. 700 votes, but only 393 likes on the stream. Do you hate us? Do you hate us?
Yeah, we have 585 people watching and only 300 and something likes. Come on now.
Let us know, what do you need to do? What do we need to do? Chris says we built our gender construction of manhood around hunting, providing, protecting. I mean, that is true, right? Like, and someone says, did Johnny Harris have a video about this with the map? I say this not to be silly. I think Harris could make a really good video about this. Interlay says, hot take, it's mostly young guys believing you could help them make millions no matter how. Yeah. Okay, so someone else says violent anger is often the only acceptable public emotion. Well, yeah, let's think about that, right? It's almost like, what is a more acceptable public emotion for, a cisgendered man in our society? Fighting or crying? I would say for most of my life, it has been more acceptable for a guy to like fight or express rage or violence in a public setting than it has been to express sadness or vulnerable emotions. Henry, your thoughts?
Yeah, even with the kind of expression of like more emotional intelligence and like nonviolent communication, there's still a sense of like competitive zero-sum thinking to a lot of that kind of framing as we move away from like more explicitly violent modes of storytelling, I feel, about masculinity. And I mean, look, like, what are we looking at right now? We're looking at, like, in the cultural framework, is it like two billionaire nerds coming to a punching contest? Like, what does this have to do with either of their companies?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Andrew, thank you for all the memberships. Did Andrew just give 50? Jesus, Andrew,
Lord
that's an amazing move. Andrew Willems, everyone. All hail Lord of the Chat. Is that a top? Is that a top Lord chat? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all equal, but it's not, because numbers are numbers. Amazing. That's a really fucking cool move. So everyone, if you got one of those memberships, thank Andrew Willems for that. No, but you're right. Like, and I wonder, it's like, it's indulge this for a second, guys. But it's almost this thing too, where like men who have express emotion in a way that's not like lame or beta or whatever. Maybe you do it because you're a musician and your lyrics express emotion, but you're still like a party boy. Or you're an actor that on screen operates with pathos, but in your life, you're just like a party boy that has a group of friends called the Pussy Posse. That wasn't me making that up for you. Don't know this. Leonardo DiCaprio and his friends at one point literally called themselves the Pussy Posse. And I was thinking about this as well. I tweeted about this earlier this week. Does everyone know about liquid death? Is that I don't know if that's worldwide or just American.
Henry, the canned water.
Mm-hmm. So guys, here's what happened. If you don't know what this is, there's a company called Liquid, and I promise this is gonna connect. So a guy was like, my bros think drinking water makes them look like bitches. What if we had water in a can that looks like a dank tall boy of IPA, and rather than some, whack name like Mountain Geyser, it was called Liquid Death? And then someone was like, here's $1 billion. And then this guy legit started a company making this water that now has exclusive deals with like Live Nation and Ticketmaster, because basically the logic is, and quotations here, guys, this isn't me literally saying this, the logic of this company is like, fellas, is it gay to drink water?
The labels are like skulls and fire.
Yeah, 100%. Huss said likes are a social concept. Don't give into wisecrack propaganda. I think my chat stopped. So unless the chat actually stopped, then I'm gonna have to reload it again. But you know, and to me that says something. Like even like desire for hydration is something that we have to act like isn't masculine or something like that, you know? And maybe there's a connection there, maybe there's not. Maybe I just like talking water. Who knows? And you know, if you hate toxic masculinity, please like this stream. If you don't like this stream, I'll assume that you like this stuff. Yeah, someone said a comment like, guys, isn't it feminine to be hydrated? Someone said, wasn't it for the environment? I mean, they already have like water in paper containers and recyclable containers and stuff like that as well. But I don't know. And maybe part of this too, guys, and I'm just riffing here, I want to see what you guys think. Is it also a desire for like rigorous bifurcation or trifurcation or whatever on gender identity, you know? Like, do men feel like we have to be men in a way, or that there has to be something about our masculinity or maleness that isn't just, you know, wieners and gonads? I don't know. Like, is it just this desire to show that we are different?
Yeah, does there need to be that fundamental, like, you know, with like skulls and fire, like the fetishization of like violence in conquest? Like, can the gender identity not be aimed towards other goals, or are we saying like these are essential parts of this identity?
Yeah. Where is this? Nelson in the chat said, masculinity asks a kid to be maxed to live in peace, smash your wish to peek past epitomes, have humility. That's the shit a G has to live and breathe. Candified says, drinking water is like applying moisture to your insides. Pretty wimpy. And someone else said, paying for water is beta. So Chris Maverick says, right, the thing is liquid death is pure masculine performance and evidence that all gender is performative. But it's essentially the Axe body spray effect. Yeah. And also too, I mean, the way that it commodifies hydration in that, like, so for example, I was at a music venue last night that allows you to bring recyclable, reusable water bottles, and they have water bottle filling stations everywhere. So if we really wanted to encourage hydration and healthy shit and recycling, we would just do that. So again, it's sort of the weird marketing that Jedman only drinks the tears of their enemy. That's true. Kyle Williams says, as a dude, I've always hated performative masculinity. It feels like a weird cult. Bingo Barra says, can't people just be happy, normal, unextreme, and anyway? I'm a bot, first time tuning in, just turned 30, started taking care of your mental health. That's really amazing. Yeah, but even speaking of like mental health and stuff, like I don't know, when I started doing therapy, I just had to say to my therapist, sometimes I just want to fight dudes. And it felt weird to say. My therapist is like a nice woman around my age who the only maybe, and this is probably going to be a problematic thing to say, the only thing sometimes about having like, I found that having a young woman as a therapist, I have to fight my desire to perform like a woke good guy persona. You know, I have to sometimes just like force myself to be like, no, sometimes I'm just like, I'm shit. So, you know, having to open up to someone and be like, yeah, sometimes I like fight dudes. What's the deal with that? And it's a real thing. It's hard. Let's see. Interlay says there's too much psychology and exploiting it of marketing these days. Yeah, people are selling psychology in ways that are not good. John C., thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Funny sometimes says, cool dudes, the denial of climate change among conservative males in the States. Wow, is that a real title? Carson says, I feel like this masculinity thing has gotten worse. I've had to distance myself from friends who used to be critical thinkers, and now all these constant man versus women shorts make them unbearable. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big topic. So let's look a little bit at this New York Magazine article, which I think gets at some of this. It's an older article, but I think it's still really relevant. And it's an article that's about, and for this article as well, if you want to like read more of it later, I think if you don't subscribe, you get like 5 New York Magazine articles a month for free. But you could also use that website. Is it 12 Foot Fence or something that lets you read other things? Someone said men is the first syllable of mental health. Damn, that's real. Yeah. Let's see. Learn jujitsu. Awesome. Let's see. Janice has a therapist their age too, really helped in terms. Yeah, for sure. Michael Dodge says, yeah, we have terrible thoughts and it's. I mean, I'll say one more thing too. I remember I had like a story that like my dad told when I was growing up about being in college and like getting in a bar fight and having to go to jail. And as a kid, I'm just like, that's so cool. That's cool. But then when I look back, it's like, no, it's a story about like an angry young man who was so unaware of and in control of his emotions that his only response to conflict was resorting to like aggressive physical violence such that it landed him in jail for a night. Like, no disrespect to my pops, but like that's not like good. It's not cool. We shouldn't aspire to that, you know? But if my dad was like, oh, I had this really cool night and I wrote some poems and expressed emotions, I would have been like, Dad, come on. Hey, John Paulson, we hope you're doing well too. Like the stream, if this conversation got so beta that you had to leave and go do push-ups and jerk off. Okay, so this is an article by Lisa Miller, New York Magazine. I'm just going to start reading from the top. So let's check this out. I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are. Especially if you're younger, I'm curious your thoughts because this deals a lot with like teen dudes. Sorry, I'm just looking at some comments. Yeah, but like the stream, please. God, you guys are making me feel really unloved today. Because this is the only way I feel love and value. If you guys don't like the stream, Henry and I are going to go out in our respective cities and get in bar fights.
Yes.
Okay, so what the boys... Yes. Okay, so I'll start this article. It says, what the boys remember is not one particular meme or video, but how Andrew Tate conquered their TikTok For You pages seemingly overnight. Without warning last summer, the former kickboxing world champion obliterated the NyQuil chicken recipes, the Minion mobs, the Amber Heard mockeries, and every other trending brainworm. It's probably not an exaggeration to say if you were an American male between 12 and 20 with a TikTok account, Top G, as he calls himself, was an unavoidable presence, uploaded by mega fans, then reposted and shared, stitched and duetted. By the end of 2022, Andrew Tate had been searched on TikTok 22 billion times. Guys, that's so much. That's so much. DF said, are people just writing in here to have someone marginally famous say their words to an audience of lost millennials, Zoomers? This is odd. Let's break this one down. I'm not trying to be mean, DF. You left a comment. Let's take it seriously. I definitely am not marginally famous. But thank you, but I'm not. And I don't say people's words. I like to engage in conversation with everyone here because I like these people a lot. It's a great group. And if you haven't been here before, DF, hang out for a bit. They're really great. I think you'll like them. And I don't really think there's a lot of lost millennials and Zoomers here. And of course, we have our Gen X captain, Dr. Christopher Maverick, PhD. Shouts to him. I think you're Gen X, right? But I don't think so. I don't know, DF. I don't know if that's necessarily a fair thing to say. But hey, there you go. Christopher Dent left this comment. Watching Fight Club at 17. Damn, this is awesome. Watching Fight Club at 27. Damn, we all have some stuff to work out. So there you go. Let's see. We need a modern day Diogenes. McLovin, we have a video on cynicism coming out that talks about it. You're gonna love it. Christopher Love, we got you. And no, Maeve, I can't say your words again now. Logan says Lost Millennials would be a cool band name. If anyone wants to start a band, hit up Logan and start a band called Lost Millennials. But there you go. But clearly, and just to be clear, DF, one trying to be mean, we're just taking your comments seriously. I don't know if it was the most fair thing. But keep like the stream if you think that we're all lost millennials, except for Chris Maverick. I know there's a few of you as well who are also Gen X. And Chris, who's back as Vox, was marginally famous. Gabriel, thank you for encouraging me to be unhinged. I need it. I really need it. I really need that encouragement. My colleagues would say I don't. Yes. Oh God. At yesterday's filming, guys, I went more unhinged than ever. I might ask Olivia to like get some of the clips, or whoever's editing that, and maybe we can share them with you guys. That would be a fun thing to do maybe sometimes, to do some like outtakes on the stream from the most unhinged parts of filming. I'm going to leave a note about that. Okay. But back to this article. This clicked on Tate because of his striking appearance, the glossy shaved head, the physique, yoked as fuck, as the comedian Noel Miller observed on the Tiny Meat Gang podcast, with a menacing cobra and a devil's mask tattooed on his chest. But they stayed for the ostentatious, outrageous masculine display, the machetes and cigars, the diamond watches, the Bugattis and Lamborghinis, the obscene piles of banded cash like a scene out of Scarface. One viral TikTok showed Tate poolside in orange swim trunks and velvet slippers, chomping on a cigar while demonstrating his nunchuck technique. I mean, as someone who isn't a man of that age, this just sounds like parody to me.
Wait, nunchucks? What a cool fucking guy.
A guy by the pool doing a cigar like nunchucks? Like, this is like a Nick Kroll sketch from 2009 or something.
He has all the video games too, I bet.
Yeah. And if you guys have never seen this, by the way, look up Nick Kroll's Bobby Bottle Service sketches. It's a critique of a certain type of like douchey male, and they're from like 2008, 2009, 2010. They're so good. And basically it's an early version of this. And budget balling, you're right. Some people do get lost in the proverbial sauce. And another, on a private jet, he taunts his brother, Tristan, for eating sushi. Guys, this upcoming quote's incredible. Eating rice in a circle will make men weak, Tate says. Whereas his meal, fried chicken, makes men strong. You know who eats sushi? Little fucking soy boys. Little fucking Democrats. Shouts to the island of Japan full of Democrats. I just gotta read this again. He taunts his brother for eating sushi, eating rice in a circle. That's kind of funny. Calling sushi rice in a circle. This reminds me of like some of like the Trump quotes where it's like horrible, but it's kind of funny, the phrasing. Will make men weak. Fried chicken makes you strong. You know who eats sushi? Little fucking soy fucking Democrats. Guys, I love sushi. And I also love fried chicken. Get you a man who can do both. Cass Bisdom says a lot of people my age are obsessed with Tate, and I don't understand why. He says weird stuff that is mostly untrue. Logan says, bro, don't come for my sushi. What about fried chicken sushi? Powwow says, ayo, is rice gay though? Kroll show. Yes, it was very, very, very long ago. And I think the Bobby Bottle Service thing might have even been pre that show, just like a sketch. His fan base lived all over the English-speaking world, and it seemed to defy race, class, and religion. He appealed to rural American pro-gun constituencies and to the anti-vax, anti-mask communities. He appealed to schoolboys in Sydney and working-class immigrants in the UK, to young rideshare drivers, and to jet-setting tech bros. Tate's saturation was so complete that he reached into the blue villages of New York City, where many boys in their bedrooms found his rude and ruthless evisceration of every sacred liberal value hilarious. I'm going to make an old millennial comment right now. Someone says, is it gay to be in a society with the longest lifespans on the planet? That's an amazing comment. It's a very amazing comment. Yeah, dunking on omega-3. Let's see. Is it gay to eat raw fish on a rice straw? I'm really liking some of these comments, you guys. They're very, very fun. Sorry that I'm getting distracted by your comments. Don't be so fun, guys. Maybe someone could write like an alpha sushi ad for next week. in terms of our ad thing. Someone said, is Andrew Tate just Dwight? Yeah, Alpha Shusi. Yeah. Again, if you guys want to write an ad for us, do it. We'll read it. Again, Wisecrack Live. I haven't really identified it for a while. I'm Michael. I'm here with producer Henry. We're streaming. We appreciate it if you like the stream and share the stream. It'll be up afterwards if you want to leave comments. Share it with friends. And, I haven't said this yet today. We have a Patreon. You can join it if you want. You get videos early without ads. You get some extra content. Patreon actually announced a feature today where they can allow us to set up a store and sell stuff. And we're floating the idea, and by floating, I mean, it only came up today, of maybe making some like videos and audio series that are exclusive. You could buy for a little bit of money, just a little bit of money. I don't know. Is it gay to be a man though? It is. But yeah, so this quote though, where he talks about like boys in their bedrooms kind of like getting off on the rude and ruthless evisceration. The old millennial thing of me to say is I feel like that was almost the purpose that watching Jackass served for me as a teen boy. And one could critique elements of that show. We have made 2 Wisecrack videos about Jackass. Both of them performed very poorly. Both of them, my colleagues were like, I don't know if we should do a Jackass video, Michael. Both of them, I was like, I need this. Don't take this from me. But, the point of both those Jackass videos, the way in which they do model a weird type of like friendship and masculinity where like, let's be blunt. In Jackass, sometimes like dudes touch wieners and stuff. Now, some might say there's like a weird homoeroticism or whatever there, but like, I'll tell you this, Andrew Tate, and it probably doesn't think it's funny to do like wiener pranks with your bros. But yeah, so I think these kids they need Jackass. Going on feminism, environmentalism, gluten intolerance, literature, Harry Styles, Lil Nas X. Tate assaulted all of these with pejoratives the boys themselves knew not to use. Outside of school, they took pictures posing like him, their fingers laced together with their index fingers pointed like steeples. They made machete jokes in the group thread and listened to Tate in the gym. In private, they said, he's my guy. I love him. He's so smart. He's relevant. But when girls were around, the boys knew to keep quiet. Girls hate Tate, but they love sushi. Boys entered Tate world through his most arresting clips, including those that suggest a violent hatred of women. In one TikTok that circulated untold millions of times, he describes, okay, I don't know. I'm going to read up to the quote. I just don't want to say this quote out loud. He describes what he would do as a pimp if a woman accused him of cheating. Normal behavior. Just running through scenarios of like, if I was a pimp, this is what I would do. Slap, grab, choke, shut up, sex. Oh boy. The true stands lingered online for hours. One teenage viewer calculated he had watched between 48 and 56 hours of Tate. Another laid up with an injury watched Tate nonstop all summer. My friends would be scrolling for hours and hours and not saying a word, says Spike, 17, a high school senior in Brooklyn. Side note, if you don't want your son to be toxically masculine, don't name him Spike. Right? Isn't Spike a kind of performative? I'm sorry, if anyone in the chat is named Spike, please correct me. I'm really sorry. Thank you for those. Oh yeah, Andrew, we did get to 666. Joseph says, as a 15-year-old, I can inform you that Andrew Tate has set his influence on some of my classmates. It's a bummer. It's a bummer, but it's real. Let's get back to 666 before we go. Not Jake says, I mean, every gay guy I've ever met is dude. Seems like a correlation. Let's see. Thanks for liking the Jackass video there, guys. Yeah, literature. He said that as well. The chat just all of a sudden showed me everything. Yeah, and sorry, Spikes. Sorry for all the spikes out there. On YouTube, fans found the original interviews podcast been shredded into TikToks, as well as higher concept video essays in which Tate puts forth his views on the struggles of young men, talking about the fear of competition, the allure of gaming, the rise of depression, and suicidality. I mean, and here's the thing, right? Let's give credit where credit's due. Are we in a mental health crisis? Yes. Is depression up? Yes. Is suicide up? Yes. Are all these things up amongst young men? Yes. And I do think that means people want some answer or solution to these things. Like the stream, if I don't know. It's gay to eat well-prepared fish with a little bit of wasabi on it. Oh, Spike Lee, yeah. But Spike Lee is not like toxically masculine. He's just like a funny little guy who makes some good movies, some bad movies, and loves the Knicks. Let's see. Tate upholds mental discipline and physical toughness as the way to conquer the malaise, saying things like, if you cannot control your own mind, you're just a feather in the wind. Now, let's talk about this, right? This line, right? If you cannot control your own mind, you're a feather in the wind, and mental discipline and physical toughness as a ways to conquer the malaise. It's one of those things where it's like a doctor seeing that you have cold symptoms and the doctor telling you, oh, you definitely have a cold. And then the doctor telling you, you need to drink tequila and eat bacon to cure it. The diagnosis is correct, but the way to solve it is a little bit absurd. Because we do live in a world that doesn't give us a lot. We live in a world that is conducive to depression and suicidal thoughts and feeling like we don't have a purpose, right? And we do feel like we want control. We want control over our world. Feel like we have a purpose, like we can do something. So I do think the genius of someone like an Andrew Tate is identifying that problem and figuring out how to market a solution that benefits him almost exclusively, right? And I've heard people say before, I'm wondering what people think about this. McLovin did say cold betas, which is totally true. I have heard people say this thing. Hey, Christopher, thank you for the love. We don't need your money, Christopher. In here. But I've heard people say this. I've heard people say something like, well, at least, an Andrew Tate, a Jordan Peterson, people of that nature, at least they offer young men something, because a lot of people on the left or in liberal circles don't offer men anything and just tell them that they're like bad. Have you heard people say something to that regard, Henry?
I've heard reactionaries use it as a defense for why they like manosphere stuff, but like I've never felt I've been told I'm bad as a male in a consensus way that made me feel it was true.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm trying to approach this from the perspective of like, I don't know. And especially if you're like a young dude in the chat and you feel like being a little vulnerable in a public setting with a bunch of strangers, like, I don't know. Do you feel like there's stuff for you to do? Do you feel like you're being told that you have stuff to do in this world? Do you feel like you're being told you're just like bad or something? I don't know.
The most bad vibes I get in terms of like gender performance is, I don't know, I sometimes feel other men do zone into like the competition idea or the zero-sum thinking a bit and get kind of like stern maybe around you in ways they wouldn't with like female friends.
Yeah. I mean, I do think as well there's a type of like ally performativity where some men like perform like hating men kind of, or like a type of allyship that does feel vaguely performative and like I'm good because I reject all masculinity or whatever. I don't know.
Sort of like a self-hating of the identity without like substituting it for something. So there's kind of like a performative self-loathing that like ethically may be in line, but individually is going to destroy you if you're not, reconstituting yourself.
Yeah. I'm also curious too if people in the chat, and I'm very sorry. I hope that this chat, I hope this topic isn't like alienating for the non men in the chat. And I appreciate comments from people that aren't dudes about like what this is like for them and what they think about all this sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm curious especially if there's, whether you're man, woman, non-binary, whatever in the chat, if there's dudes, because it's so easy to think of like, here's all of the thought leaders that are out here being like, I'm here to lead the dudes. Are there people that people like better? Are there dudes that people think of as like cool role models or they like? I'm just kind of curious. Not that like a dude has to have a dude role model, but okay, let's go on. Above all, Tate talks incessantly about one of Wisecrack's favorite films, The Matrix. A dog whistle for incels. and red pill adherence, which in Tate's version means the humdrum workaday world of wage slavery. I mean, let's stop here. Is it bad and kind of shitty that we live in a world where wage slavery, or in less extreme terms, is it bad that we live in a world where we all necessitate exchanging our labor for some amount of capital that we then use to pay rent and have the basic means of subsistence for life? Is that like cool? Do we like that? Is it like a fun way to live, you know? Or is someone who has to like drive, Lyft, you know, 80 hours a week or whatever? Is that good they have to do that? I don't think so. So like there's a part of get, you know, like, and again, I'm just reading the first half of a sentence, but there's a part of me it's like, okay, I like get where that's coming from.
Julia Coes in the chat, when talking about male role models, brings up FD signifier. And I do want to bring up, he did a video on manosphere stuff. I want to say it was 2 or 3 videos ago. It may have been his first Black Conservatives one, where he goes for the question of like, who's like, why are people buying this stuff? Who's selling it? And it gets to this point about masculinity where selling the violent dudes in conflict thing, like Andrew Tate's not getting anyone laid, and like, he's not doing anything beneficial for the people that consume him. It's something where like even the product being sold is just like self-destructive, because I mean, he sees himself as a man in competition with other men. Why would he not see his customers as suckers in some form?
Yeah, that's true. Let's go call. Rampant Porcupine said, I'm kind of like their Andrew Tate, to be honest. I can't do nunchuck tricks. I embrace being bald. There was a stream where I did push-ups. So if you want to see me be athletic, there you go. That's kind. I hope I don't let you down. Brenton, I love this Brenton Beard comment. I think we're ignoring you and talking to each other at this point. You draw a great chat. That's the goal, right? That's the goal. Isaac says Brendan Lee Mulligan's their male role model. Fun fact, I did an improv class years ago where I was taught by Brendan Lee Mulligan. Very nice guy. Let's see. Someone said Hassan Minaj. I like Hassan Minaj. I think he's a cool guy.
Me too, yeah.
So
Homecoming
Curtis,
King's one of my
yeah.
favorite.
Curtis B, and I appreciate this, was sharing that as a man in their mid-20s, they do feel like the only from people like Tate. Well, I get a lot from the other side is more nuanced and requires way more effort and can be kind of nebulous, or how to go about things to live a good life. I mean, here's what I would say, right? To Curtis's point, I mean, I've had periods in my life where I've been listening to like podcasts and watching comedy specials, reading books by some dudes who are critical, who are telling me something about society, and you get all mad. Or, you know, imagine like listening to Chapo Trap House or things like that, and you're just like, yeah, everything sucks. Yeah, everything sucks. But like, what do you do with that? And I could totally see a certain type of young dude. Logan says female Tate is Gwyneth Paltrow. I think there's something to that. Also, Logan Reese, who we like a lot, is writing some short videos that are going to be up on our TikTok soon. So if you don't check out Wisecrack's TikTok, do it for Logan. Do it for Logan Reese, if for nothing else. But all I have to say is like, you know, I could just imagine that world, right? And that's, for example, like I stopped listening to a lot of the kind of left-wing culture critique, largely duty podcast, because it just felt like a vortex of negative energy and not a lot of like positivity, and not positivity. And we have to make the world as rainbows, but like not encouraging people to be anything or do anything. Go ahead, Henry.
I feel like it was a misplaced emotional investment for me, as far as like the care economy of like performative consumerism goes. I find it funny you bring up Chapo, because I feel like Matt Christman and his personal vlogs, where he's just kind of like doing his book club thing, kind of helped me steer myself away from like current events politics, and just remember like, oh yeah, I tend to like broader scope history and literature stuff.
Yeah. But definitely with those dudes, like all the Chapo dudes moved to LA to like become screenwriters. Like they're just
right.
I mean, I'm not saying that in a critical way. I'm not saying it. I do find it corny, and my friend Justin Boyd the other day was really pushing me to talk about why I find that corny. Justin Boyd, great guy, really good screenwriter. But there, to me, there's almost something like, oh, so like all of this, building this whole brand around like being angry at the world is just so you could like get enough clout to be screenwriters. I've said too much. But there you go. Joseph brings up George Carlin. Joseph, that's cool. As a 15-year-old, you're out here like listening to Carlin and stuff like that. So I think that's very cool. Let's see. Oh, Crazy Tom, great comment. At least Tate is offering something a young man is actually plagiarized from The Big Lebowski when Walter says, say what you want about the tenets of National Socialism, dude, but at least it's an ethos. No, for sure. Brandon Beard brings up the Young Turks in that way. Donald Glover seems like a decent, good role model. Is a very interesting. I think if you're a creative person, it's hard to not be slightly interested or intrigued, inspired by him. So let's read the last half of this quote I stopped at. So the humdrum workaday world of wage slavery, of formerly proud men controlled by big business and governments who never get ahead and whose feminist wives refuse to give them a blowjob at the end of the day. Freedom, Tate asserts, is attained by living this way, by getting strong and rich and becoming a G. Now, again, like responding to the problem of life feels bad. You're broke. You don't have a lot of money. You went to college, and you're still not getting anywhere in life. You thought you'd own a home at this point. You don't. Maybe you don't have a relationship and you're not having sex. Again, like I said before, I don't know what sex is. I don't know what it looks like. If you had a room with 19 video monitors and like 9 of them were playing sex and 10 were playing other things, I couldn't tell you which videos were sex and which ones were other things. I don't know what it is. But in this instance, like he's offering this response to taking control of your life. And again, to compare this to some of the more like left-wing bro stuff, the left-wing bro stuff will be like, everything sucks. It is bad. Wage slavery is bad. Government sucks. Job sucks. And then they're just like, eh. So like, again, guys, I'm not saying that this is good. I'm not saying he's good. He's bad. He's all the way bad. Bad. 666 bad. But you know, I can at least see that being am I making sense?
Yeah. I wonder too if it's like a matter of like what you can imagine and articulate as like actionable items on both ends of the ideological spectrum, whereas like on the right leaning side, like Tate's here telling people to buy stuff. Like there's a direct, clear, like tangible, like, hey, buy the stuff, get better. That's the equation. Whereas like telling people to read theory and like rethink on abstract concepts is a bit of a harder sell to like the just like in a market economy, or also just, I don't know. I wonder about just the material conditions of people's ability to like afford the time to read versus like thinking they can just buy a quick solution. And we're culture starved in multiple ways that make Tate appealing besides just the masculinity stuff.
Yeah. Logan reads, and this is like, again, guys, I'm seeing the chat. Logan brings up Bo Burnham. Yeah, Bo Burnham's a cool guy that expresses vulnerability, but he's also tall and has a cool girlfriend and funny. But yeah.
Chris Maverick brings up an excellent point too. If Dude Bros had any idea, if Dude Bros had any idea how easy it was to get laid as a pro-queer feminist, oh well.
I mean, related to that, Nelson says, have they tried reciprocating that quest for head? It's like, you get what you give, guys. Someone tried a song like that. You only get what you give.
Some of the
that was a good song.
Some of the best heterosexual interactions I can think of, I was wearing a dress when they were initiated.
See, guys, there you go. And also because, like, I don't know, you know who doesn't look like a guy? It's going to be a piece of shit. A guy wearing a dress. Is that okay that I said that?
Wait, what?
Oh, I just said, like, I feel like a male presenting person in a dress, I feel like is giving off a vibe that they're not a piece of shit.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Because you're clearly, you're confident, you're expressing yourself, and you don't look like someone who watches Andrew Tate videos. Basically,
you're demonstrating a comfortable, like being comfortable expressing yourself outside of like predefined norms as well.
Yeah. Someone brought up, I guess Chris Maverick does know what sex is. I'm gonna ask him to get on a Zoom and teach me about it. And someone brought up positive nihilism, but yeah, I do think but positive nihilism again is about figuring out values. There's a part in this. We'll wrap up in a second, but there is this long. The next passage of it is about a kid named Christian. He's 12. Kid is bummed, didn't have a lot of friends, and then got into Tate and he joined the wrestling team and he feels popular and he trains, he works out, he has friends, all this sort of stuff. So again, like, clearly this shit is helping some people. But there we go. Just trying to talk about this stuff a little bit. Really great chat today. Chris Evans, that seemed like a good guy. Someone brought up they lost their virginity at 22. I lost my, is today the day where I tell you all the age I was where I lost virginity? Oh yeah, I can't say it because I don't know what sex is. But hypothetically, it was old. So I'm with you, Christopher. So there you go. But let's wrap up here. This has been very fun today. If you haven't liked the stream, maybe like it on the way out. Let's check the final poll. Is it okay to meme tragedy? 82 yes, 18 no. Really, guys, all day, all-time performance in the chat. As always, thank you for being a member. It means a lot to us. If you want to check out the Patreon, please do. That also helps us. But if you enjoy the stream, keep coming back. Share it with friends. We probably have, I'll be honest, only a few more streams before I do a little bit of pregnancy leave. The stream will be the first thing I do coming back. Also, and Henry, I say this because I'm going to message you about this. We can talk about it afterwards. Next week, there might be a world where we have to stream on Friday, friends. So I will, if we're going to not stream on Thursday, I'll post it on the Discord server, which if you're on Patreon or a member, you're on. I'll post it on Twitter, and I'll post a thing on our Facebook community page. In the meantime, give producer Henry some love on the way out of the door. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate all of you. And thanks for letting us talk about some ideas. And keep watching the videos. We had some more stuff coming your way I think you're really going to like. And we also have a video coming your way that a sponsor made us make last minute that I think you might not like. Oops, I've said too much. Bye.
Thanks, y'all. See you next week.